Hey everybody, Adam Savage. I am in London with Stephen Lane. Dude, how are you?
Great to see you, man. Great to
We
see
have
you.
a couple of amazing pieces to talk about today from Aliens. Let's talk about this one.
Sure. Let's start with this.
Dude, this is from this is visible in the director's cut of Aliens.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not, I don't think in the original theatrical release it's something that appeared. Obviously we had that additional footage that was added in.
Yeah.
And it's all that sort of Hadley's Hope, the colony sort of environment, giving us a little bit more establishing, wasn't it, really, as we sort of learn about what's going on there.
In the theatrical release, we learned about Hadley's Hope and the Lost Colony after the fact, but in the director's cut, we get to see some action before everything goes haywire.
Yeah.
And this is one of the vehicles parked in the lane. This is designed by one of my all-time favorite designers, Ron Cobb. He's one of my heroes. He's responsible for so much of Alien. He also, I think, drew some of the key drawings for the Face Hugger.
And also Conan the Barbarian. I mean, he did some
Oh, that's right, he
phenomenal
did the
stuff with
swords,
Conan.
the
Yeah.
Conan
Did some
swords.
amazing stuff with Conan the Barbarian. I own some of his illustrations. They're astonishing.
You know, he got hired as an in-betweener at like 16 on Snow White.
Really?
Yeah, no, he worked at Disney doing drawings. Like that's what a sort of prodigy he was at illustration. Like with no training, he got hired by Disney and then moved on.
I never knew that. Incredible.
And when you look at the Art of Alien book, that features a ton of his drawings. One of the things I loved is that he always thought through what the drive system would be, how it would be fueled, who made it. He built all of these histories for the equipment.
Making it so, I mean, that really helps influence the design, doesn't it? So it feels more practical. You know, you feel like there's a reason, there's a use, there's an element to it that really does actually should function essentially.
Well, you were saying just off camera before we started, you said it really looks like it's back to front.
Oh, I think most people have positioned this into the display case here have put it around the wrong way. They all think that's the front of the vehicle.
But I think that sort of thing happens all the time in industry, where something purpose-built for one task looks weird to you because it's been constructed to do one thing. And I feel like he's sensitized to that. I want to say that, like, this is the kind of construction that was my bread and butter as a model maker. You get a drawing, like one of Ron's incredible drawings, and then probably, I'm guessing, 3 days to execute something like this.
What, 3 days to build it?
3-4 days to build this.
Wow, man.
Yeah,
That's
I would
incredible.
imagine it'd be pretty fast.
I mean, just the paintwork alone on this is astonishing. The detailing that you got, the distressing work that's on here. I mean, it really feels aged and worn down, doesn't it?
I agree. No, it's a
Beaten up.
spectacular aging, and I have a theory about the aging, but I wanted to talk about one thing first.
Okay, sure.
So we've got some clear windows with some translucency to them, and I wanted to point out that there is kind of a chair in there,
Oh, yeah?
but not really. You can see it's sort of barely a chair, but all it needed to be was a shadow.
Yeah, just a representation, isn't
Exactly.
it? Really? It's not
And
anything else.
I just love the efficiency of that, where you can see this equipment, but they haven't spent a lot of time, or what the producer would think of as wasting a lot of time making gestures in there. It's just sort of
Detailing
like
it.
shadows.
Yeah. But even the washing down the windows here, the grime and the dirt you got it as you're shining the light on it, you can really see it coming through, can't you?
Well, and this is where I have a theory about how this, I think this got painted twice.
Okay.
And I think that the original modeling team would have done a paint pass on it that would have weathered it a bit, but that when they put it in sight, that is where any subtlety disappears.
Right.
And that's where an on-set scenic comes in and just
Stashes
starts,
it.
just starts slapping it with stuff. So I'll wager that stuff like the big, greasy, rusty parts here might have happened on set rather than in the studio.
Yeah. Has it got any sort of suspension to it at all? I mean, do you think it was ever designed to move in any capacity at all? I mean, it's obviously got the roll
I did
there,
push it
hasn't
back and forth, and I don't hear any motor like whining or any gear, so I don't think.
It's just static. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do we got on the underside there? Let's have a look.
And again, they haven't wasted 1 second down here. It's very, very fast. And oh, look, some of these, I've got some of these.
You start recognizing the model parts, don't you?
There is this very specific thing of this ribbed neoprene rubber matting, which is like, if you think you've seen it before, you have, because it's a pretty standard industrial thing, and it is on so many props from film history. This specific ribbed pattern,
detail.
and you can actually, if you spin the tires, you can see that they've just glued this mat as a strip around the wheel.
There it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you
It's
get
just
it
like
there.
hot glue, perhaps.
Yeah. Beautiful.
What an amazing! I mean, Ron Cobb is such an iconic designer, and to be able to like own a piece like this that is such a standout and standalone little chunk of his brilliance is amazing.
Yeah, and I think it's the first time it's come to market as well. We've never seen this before. I've not.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's come from a model guy in the UK, or certainly somebody who was associated with the production, and it's just been with him for decades. So it's great to see this stuff, really still surface for the first time year on year at prop store auctions.
It is in particularly fantastic shape. Like there's no paint scratches at any of the extremities.
No, you feel like it's been cared for as well, don't you? It's been looked after for sure.
I got a call out here that I just noticed while we were filming some B-roll, which is that the underside here includes some model kit parts like these here. And there's a muffler. You can see that's a muffler from a car model. But then the long trees on either side, those aren't part of a model kit. They're part of the sprue tree on which the model kit arrived. And the model maker was like, I just need some visual detail under there, snipped it with some flush cutters and glued it down. That is some really great efficiency.
All right, I think it's time we should talk about the elephant in the room.
Literally, the size of that thing.
This is, am I right? This is one of the arms of the Hero Power Loader?
Power loader, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a vac form piece of equipment. I assume as much as anything else, just for weight and for management for it, you can just hear that it's just sort of, it's hollow throughout. I'm assuming this is an aperture for sort of puppeteering, would you say?
Well, this is the thing that I think not a lot of people realize is that when Sigourney was in that costume, there's a giant dude behind her in that costume moving the arms. And this is where Sigourney Weaver's hand was. And this is the shoulder of the dude helping her move this around.
So that's why it had to be lightweight. I mean, it's the only way it's going to be done, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, they're talking about things still existing today. I mean, who has had this? Where has this been? This has come to us from a collector in the US, and I don't actually know much about the origins before that. But it's
a collector in the US, so that meant this left Britain, went to the US and came back, it is like, I don't see many cracks. I don't see a lot of damage.
No, there's a little bit up around here. You can see it around the top. I know that this has been restored at some point in time in its history. So there's, I think perhaps some of the paintwork has been redone and refinished and retouched, which would be expected really. When you've got a piece of this size and you're trying to manage it, you're trying to wrangle it and handle it. And this would have been designed by Sid Mead, wouldn't it? Is that right? Is this a Sid Mead design?
Yes, Sid Mead.
Yeah. So Sid Mead would have been in, I mean, and to see his work sort of really presented in this fashion, this sort of scale, it's unusual, isn't it? I mean,
it is not only unusual, but no matter how many times I've watched that movie, I walked in and I thought, wow, that's way bigger than I thought it would be.
I'd love to see the full size. I mean, Jim Cameron's got one of the full size, hasn't he, in his collection?
I hope so.
I think so. I think it's documented. I think I've seen photos of it out there. And in fact, it was actually on display. I remember seeing it in person now. I did see it. This is going back about 20 plus years ago. It was in Fox Studios, Australia. They had it on display there in a sort of weird little museum that they had for a very short period of time. And I got to see it there. I'd forgotten I'd actually seen the full size one.
So pieces like this don't show up very often?
Not at all. No. I think when you get to this sort of size and this sort of scale, generally speaking, they get thrown away. They get ejected. It's rare that you see, how many X-Wing large full-size components you've ever seen. I think from a Snowspeeder we had one cannon as surface, but the things just don't keep them. Yeah.
When you guys sell this, are you offering a mounting surface, or are they just gonna have to figure it out for themselves?
I think we'll leave that down. Yeah, I mean the guys here have come up with this great solution for it. Actually, I mean this is pretty good. I would say we could probably offer this the rack that goes with it at the same time.
It is such an incredible piece. It looks to me, just on a cursory glance, I feel like all the paint on this part is absolutely original. It looks like it's only one coat, and it looks like I see evidence of like some real onset scenic kind of stuff. Right. I think this is streaks and tips.
Yeah, I love the paintwork on it. I mean, the distressing on it is epic, isn't it?
I think this is where some of the restoration might have happened, like some glue that's wearing through the paint.
You can definitely see it up here, can't you? It's more evident up here than anywhere else, really.
But also, the other thing I thought when I first saw this was, oh my God, they must have all been having so much fun on set.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Sigourney's up there in this thing, and they're all trying their stuff. They must have been like, oh, this is going to rule.
And it did. I mean, it was a great design, wasn't it? We were talking about this earlier on, just about how impactful that was, we just immediately accepted it as a practical piece of equipment. Absolutely viable.
Like you probably were. I was watching this sequence last night, and that foot hits the ground,
Yeah.
and you hear that clunk sound,
Yeah.
and you're like, I'm in. This is just a piece of farm equipment. That's all that it is.
Yeah, and again, it was sort of repeated in Avatar, wasn't it? We sort of came back with sort of comparable sort of style of design there, wasn't it? Where he was like, okay, well, that worked before. Let's go with it again.
There's also one in the Matrix sequels.
Oh, of course there is.
That one, I
Yes.
love that one.
Yeah.
There's like, I always like gathering together these pieces of films. The APC from Judge Dredd also is sort of a relative, an uncle, a second cousin.
Yeah, got a little bit of it. Just see the influences there, can't you?
Yeah.
It's worked once, let's go with it again. Yeah.
And again, also, I think Cameron's just using like a helicopter joystick or something, aircraft joystick here for the control, which feels very like in Cameron's universe.
But this is a cast, isn't it? It's a dummy. It's not a practical one, or So it's actually because that's all just static, isn't everything on here is static,
and it doesn't even seem like it moves back and forth.
No, it's fixed. Yeah, because I was trying to work out whether there was actually a real one there, but. Yeah,
it's lovely. The vacuum form pieces, this is a little bit of fascia covering something, and then the same pieces here. It's the exact same.
Oh, the same one, just repeated.
Yeah, and they're just like covering over some nuts and bolts.
Yeah.
Oh man,
wicked.
What a beautiful piece. And the auction is coming up.
It is. It takes place on November the 14th to November the 17th. It's live and online, and you can register right now at propstore.com.
And if they pay extra, you're going to throw in a xenomorph head that they can clamp into the
that's
jaws?
definitely extra.
Stephen, thank you so much, man.
It's been a pleasure.
A beautiful pair of pieces from Aliens.
Thank you guys so much for watching that video. We have some brand new merch available at the store. A dog's age ago, I mean like 2018, 2019, this wonderful graphic designer named Brian Otterer reached out to us and sent us some stickers. He has a design firm called Dash 3 Dots, and we loved his stickers so much we wanted to sell them on the merch store. Well, he updated them with our new logo, and we've got Adam in Martian spacesuit sticker. We've got Adam in the shuttle suit sticker. We've got Adam in the Apollo suit sticker. And my personal favorite, Adam in the alien spacesuit sticker. Get yours now, tested-store.com. Hey!